roar of the crowds, the bright lights of the stadium. Let's begin with the assumption that God is sovereign, He's large and in charge. That nothing that is coming to being is coming to being without Him, by chance.
Not only that, but much of the stuff that we know and experience in our everyday lives are ordained by Him in advance as kingdom illustrations of kind of physical pictures of spiritual realities. Kings and kingdoms, why do they exist? God's plan embedded here in the physical world so that we can wrap our minds around what it means to have a king. Ding! We get it. Jesus is the king. Ding! And He has a kingdom. Why did God create these microscopic seeds that are so small they're almost invisible to see? Jesus says the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, and He uses that, ding, as an illustration. Why is it that water is necessary for life? I wonder. Ding, Jesus says, I am the living water. Bread and wine, tenants and landlords, a young couple in love. Paul writes that that's an illustration of Christ and the church. Here's another picture, an often overlooked means of grace that begins with the question, why do men enjoy sports so much? It's because we're made in God's image, and Christ is the warrior conqueror, king of the heavenly host. And we as men are called to put on the full armor and are called as warriors into the spiritual battle Paul writes for us in Ephesians 6:10-18. The Bible says that we are more than conquerors. Yet, as Thoreau says, we as men live lives of quiet desperation. Men who are often relegated to cubicles that never taste life on the battlefield. So in our spiritual DNA as image bearers, we're drawn to watch gladiators on the gridiron, on the basketball court, boxing, MMA, and we head to the gym as weekend warriors. Sports ignite something in the DNA of our manhood. Now that being said, if I put on the full armor that God provides and advance into the trenches to which we're called, the battlefield, that takes place outside the four walls of a church and outside of Bible studies, it becomes necessary for us to fully depend on the strength that God provides, which also fulfills something in us. Gifted, empowered by His Spirit, positioned for His glory, by stepping out of the bleachers as a spectator and onto the playing field, puts us in the spiritual trenches of battle where we fully rely on Him and are dependent upon the grace that He provides. Rise up, O men of God. You were created in the image of God. You were created in the image of God.